That's, of course, correct, yes. All right. Any other favorites? You have a chapter here called On a Bender. What is it? What is that all about?
What that was is an early UFO buff who edited a magazine about UFOs and ran a UFO organization.
Right.
He claimed that he was contacted by 3 men in black who told him the ultimate secret about UFOs, what they were really about, and then took him, initially he said that they were government, and they told him to shut up about it. As time went on, and as the dollar signs kind of arose in his back brain, the story got more convoluted, and he went to the planet Kasich, where everybody was naked, and it was quite a joyride he had in the UFO. But originally it was just him being involved in UFOs, and then 3 men in black contacting him.
You mean an entire closed optional planet?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and apparently this story had a good deal of currency among UFO buffs back then. But you know, the men in black were really quite apparent right at the beginning of UFO research, around 47 through the early 50s. In fact, one of the earliest encounters that took place 13 days before the famous Kenneth Arnold encounter, where he saw the UFOs over, I think it was Mount Rainier, was the Maury Island affair, and that was the sighting of 3 donut-shaped UFOs that allegedly dropped metal and slag upon a boat near Tacoma. And after this took place, a man in black the following day contacted the leading witness, a man named Harold Dahl, and told him to keep his mouth shut about it. So it goes right back to the beginning of UFO research.
You did say donut shape, didn't you?
That's right.
I bet that's something a cop would never report. It'd get me in a lot of trouble. All right, look, why don't we take some calls?
I'd love it.
And see what the audience has to say about all of this. Here we go. We'll just punch them up. You never know what you're going to get, I'm telling you.
Maybe it's a man in black, eh?
You know, are you a Canadian?
Are you speaking to me?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
You're not. But you say, hey, just like a Canadian does.
Okay.
East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Jim Keith. Hi.
Hello, Art. Is my radio causing interference?
No, I don't hear it.
Okay.
But I would prefer you do not have it on in any form when you get on the air.
Yes, okay. Should I turn it off now?
Yes, you should. Turn it off.
All right, hold on.
Absolutely. Everybody please do that. It's impossible to conduct a conversation otherwise.
Okay, this is Tim in St. Louis?
Yes, Tim.
I have a couple things just to bring up. One is that it seems to me that in just reading ghost stories, like it, all throughout my life,
yes,
it seems like I've heard quite a few references actually to women in black. And usually they're, purported to be some sort of ghost of a woman who's been deceased or something like that. But it does seem like women in black have appeared. And something else, the second thing that I'd like...
A lot of them are witches, I suspect.
Maybe. But another thing that I'd like to mention is the total preponderance throughout the British Isles of stories of black dogs. And their behavior, in animal fashion, of course, is almost identical to what I've heard of the behavior of the men in black.
And let us not forget black cats.
Yes, but the black dogs are often so much more sinister. They'll appear, and you won't even be able to see their eyes or any part of their face, and then suddenly they'll just vanish into mist,
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, and supposedly they're familiars of, witches or, necromancers or something like that. So maybe these men in black are something similar.
Fair comment, Jim?
Good point, Tim. One thing that what you said reminded me was that trolls and fairies and witches originally were conceived of as being men and women in black. They were identical, but as time has gone by and with kind of fantasization, like for instance the work of Shakespeare, they've been turned into other things. For instance, fairies now have wings and are tiny, but originally witches and trolls and fairies were pretty much the same breed. And like I said, sometimes details drop out in my memory of my research, but now that I think about it, in Ireland, the fairies were men and women in black.
Really?
Yeah.
That isn't the way I pictured a fairy in Ireland at all.
Sure. Sure. From what I understand, it was Shakespeare who turned our heads around about fairies and conceived of them as being kind of sprightly creatures.
Okay. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Jim Keith. Good evening.
Hi, Art. This is Chuck from Fresno.
Hi, Chuck.
When I was about 7 or 8 in 1970 or 71, I had no knowledge of Men in Black at that age, and I had a dream where 2 men in black came to my house, took me and my parents in a big black car, like a Lincoln Continental.
Really?
And they took us to a field that I had never been at that time. And yet later in my life, that was a place that I would go to. A friend's house was near there. And there was a corrugated metal warehouse.
Yes.
Which in that area there actually was it was like a garage where this guy had all these old T-birds.
Yes.
And in there it was very dark, very gothic looking. And there was a suit of armor in there. And then my father was taken to a chopping block. And an executioner was about to cut his head off with a really big axe.
What?
And that's all I remember. And, my father's fine, and it was a dream.
It was a dream?
Yeah, but I had when I was younger than that, I was supposed in 68, I had a sighting that I can only say it was a dream, and yet I think it was real. And I have to wonder if that's connected. And then in about 88, I had a UFO sighting that I know was real because I had somebody see it, but it was a light in the sky, so you can't see anything.
All right. Well, then let's translate this to a question for Jim that kind of goes down that alley. Jim, are a lot of the Men in Black sightings, how many of them are ambiguous in the sense that the person after it's over is not quite sure whether it was a dream or really happened?
As surprising as it might be, a minimal number. Most of the Men in Black sightings that I have run across tend to be the ones that people want to talk about or get into print, or are very significant. And usually the kind of waking dream or the ambiguous ones don't really get communicated that much. So in fact, the number that have to do with dreaming in what I have dug up is minimal.
Pretty small. All right. First time caller line. Whoops, you would have been. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Jim Keith. Good morning.
Good morning, Art. This is John from Long Island, New York again.
Hi, John.
I have a question for your guest. Where do these Men in Black come from?
Well, that's a good question, and I suppose if we had the answer, it would not be a mysterious casebook. We'd simply be telling you where they come from.
We'd be conducting tours there at $15 a pop.
Yeah, that's right. So, do you have a best guess?
Yeah. In fact, I don't have the specific call letters of the military operation that is alleged to be a source of Men in Black encounters, but it is listed in the book, and that is one source. And then on the other hand, the paranormal, if you're looking for those guys' addresses, I think that they cross dimensions, and probably are human, and it takes a lot for me to admit that, but I think their address may be pretty tenuous.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Jim Keith. Hi.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Are you a screener?
No, we don't have a screener, sir. I'm Art Bell. Turn your radio off, please.
Okay, the radio is off.
All right. No, see, we don't screen calls here.
Okay, very good. I have a question with regard to the foliage in the circles and the other forms that are being drawn in fields.
All right. We are not in open lines right now. As you can tell if you're listening.
I'm listening.
We have a guess.
Well, I thought that...
No, it's not open lines.
Okay, very good. I take that as the answer. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, take care. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Jim Keith. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi.
We're on the air now?
I hope so.
Oh, good. I've been listening to the Men in Black, and I had a question. A lot of the stories I hear about this, it's usually they're trying to discourage people from following up on these UFO experiences.
Yes.
How often have they followed through on their threats? I mean, is there any documented cases where people have been injured? And if so, what is the percentage to the number of people who haven't been injured?
Very, very good question. How many documented cases, Jim, that you heard of where there was follow-through?
You know, I've known of a couple of cases where people were beat up. Certainly cases where people were browbeaten and truly harassed verbally.